thank you. Joining the panel now is independent member for Curtin, Kate Chaney. Thank you for your time. Always interesting that in these contests, that the best thing to do is raise money. It helps you win, but members never want to talk about raising a lot of money. How do you think the money battle's going? We do have more transparency from you compared to the Liberals. Are you hearing rumours about how much your opponent is raising?
Well, isn't it terrible that it comes down to a conversation about rumours? I mean, when I initially ran, we built a website in a week to disclose all donations in real time, because I think that's the very least voters can expect, is to know where the money's coming from. And because I disclose my donations and my opponent doesn't, the conversation ends up being about my donors rather than where my opponent's money is coming from and how much there is. And we will never actually know.
Do you know who they are? You know who they are?
I don't know who his donors are because nothing is disclosed. So, and we will never know how much money is spent in Curtin because of the current lack of transparency.
All right, let's get to the question we all want answered out there, which is any discussion of a hung parliament arrangement with the Prime Minister with any of the independents last night?
Look, that wasn't discussed last night, no.
So neither the independents with him or him with any of you or you colleagues spoke about that possibility?
I don't know what anyone else spoke about. I didn't hear every conversation, but it's really important to me in every job I've ever had to have good relationships with my colleagues. And so I'm really happy to meet with the Prime Minister, and I also have met with Peter Dutton in the last week as well. And I think part of what the crossbench can do is work constructively with both sides.
You met with Peter
really
Dutton
important
as well. What was the flavour of that discussion?
Well, we talked about the things that we had in common and the things that were more challenging. And I told him a little bit about the values of the people in my electorate and some of their priorities, including climate. And we talked, about pragmatically about where we are now.
Has he been meeting your other colleagues that you're aware of?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Was that the first time you'd met him? We had heard from some of your other colleagues, as Ali Stegg was saying, there hadn't been that sort of outreach from the Liberals, that they'd kind of been giving people the cold shoulder.
I organised that meeting, and I think it's
you
really
reached
important.
that to him?
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's really important to have good relationships across the whole house. And I think one of the things that we're really lacking is productive working relationships where you can respect that someone comes from a different position, but that you can find common ground. And that seems like mature discussion that people would expect from their leaders.
It's clear the motive of the PM here, though, isn't it? He's thinking, I might be getting back in minority next time. I need to have good relations with these guys, don't you think?
Well, sure. And any sensible leader would want to have good relationships with people that they think they can work constructively with. And I think that's just mature. I mean, any other workplace I've worked in, you don't refuse to speak to people. You work with people constructively. So I think that's very healthy and pretty normal.
You're in for a real fight, aren't you?
I'm sure I am.
This campaign.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be very close as it was before.
Looks like he's getting a lot of volunteers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I will just keep doing it the way I think politics should be done differently, with a positive campaign that focuses on a vision for the future and holding both sides to account.
Have you still got good volunteers and support?
Very fired up, very enthusiastic, and I think it's really exciting seeing a whole lot more public engagement in the political process than we've ever seen before. But I don't think people in Curtin had seen corflutes or political T-shirts before the last election. So it's a very positive thing for democracy that more people are actively feeling like they can have a say and they can be involved. So it's good for us.
You've got more of the voluntary transparency, but it's only if the donor agrees to be identified. Are you considering changing that? Because there's quite a few on each independent site which are not revealed because of that you have to check with them that they want to be identified. Isn't the point that you don't get to self-identify?
Yeah, I mean, the law at the moment says that you don't have to, but we recently changed it on the website and said we will disclose anything above $1,000. So we're now doing that.
So that's forward ones, not in the past, but you've changed that.
We changed it a few months ago, so there might have been I can't think if there were any before that, but about 90+% of my donors and donation money is disclosed. So, and I think people, are generally happy to show that they're supporting political candidates, and if they're not, and there's a range of reasons why people aren't. Some people were concerned about repercussions from the government if for other things that they're involved in.
Right.
But open donation seems to be a much healthier